The ancient Egyptians had a great reverence for life in all its forms. Life had been given by the gods, and reverence for it extended beyond human beings to all living things. The ancient Egyptians were respectful towards the animals that shared their world and associated many of them with deities or positive human characteristics. However, no animal was held in such esteem as the cat and as much veneration and care as cats were. In all Egyptian language, cat name was meaning that who meows. When we look at the historical process of Egyptian domestic cats, we can see that they were relatives of African wildcat and jungle cat. And also ancient Egyptian domestic cat was the ancestor of many our cats in today. From the excavations finding of cat mummies generally shows us the cats which was mummified, generally domestic cats, but their bodies bigger than today's cats. From these findings, we can assume that domestic cats and wild cats were combined, so they have become semi-domesticated.
Beginning of the importance of cats. As a primarily agrarian society, the ancient Egyptians had a distinct problem with mice, rats, and snakes, all of whom treated the grain stores. It is thought that the ancient Egyptians learned that wild cats preyed on these scavengers and so began to leave out food, to tempt the cats to visit them regularly. This suited the cats perfectly as being close to human settlements not only provided them with a ready supply of food, but also helped them to avoid larger predators. As this symbiotic relationship developed, cats were welcomed indoors and eventually constant to move in with their human friends and rear their kittens in the safety of the home.
Mao. Mao discovered the legends and myths and religious beliefs surrounding Mao, believed to be a personification of the sun god Ra in the form of a cat. Mao is strongly associated with the ancient Egyptian mythology regarding the great cat of Ra, who dwells in Heliopolis and killed the monstrous serpent deity, Apep, the Egyptian god of evil. Mao was the cat that protected Persia tree, identified with the Egyptian tree of life. The battle between Ra as the cat Mao was ultimately the story about good prevailing or evil. Mao in Egyptian mythology, personification of Ra and enemy of Apep. Mao was the name of the cat regarded as representing or embodying the sun god Ra that had the character traits and abilities of the deity. The Egyptian tree of life, identified with the Persia tree, was guarded and protected by the Mao, the great cat. The sacred Persia tree of life first emerged when Ra Atum, the sun god, first appeared at Heliopolis. It played a part in the creation myth that explained how the 9 gods who made up the Aeneid of Heliopolis were created. The fruit of the tree of life gave eternal life and knowledge of the divine plan. Apep was the Egyptian god of evil, chaos, and destruction, and depicted as a giant snake or serpent.
Mafdet. Her other known titles include Lady of the House of Life, Slayer of Serpents, and the Great Cat. Her name Mafdet means in Egypt runner, because she was symbolized as a leopard or cheetah head. So this gives her an ability to be fast runner. The first fallen god was Mafdet, who was worshipped for protection from poisonous bite from things like snakes or scorpions. As early as the first dynasty, Mafdet has been considered the goddess of judgment, justice, and execution.
She is believed to be the first feline goddess, predating Bastet and Sekhmet. She may also take the form of a panther in some depictions. She had braided hair that ended up into scorpions' tails or joint bodies of scorpions she may have killed. Sometimes she wears a headdress made of snakes. Bastet, another feline deity in the form of a lioness who protects the king and pharaoh, may have eclipsed Maftet's popularity and assimilated her functions. However, Maftet's reverence and existence is still evident, especially to pharaohs. Her images can be found in the pharaoh's personal items and in the beds where they were mummified.
In Lower Egypt, the more famous goddess Bastet replaced Mafdet. Bastet was a personification of the sun and had the head of a cat and body of a female. Bastet is the Egyptian goddess of the home, domesticity, women's secrets, cats, fertility, and childbirth. She protected the home from evil spirits and disease, especially diseases associated with women and children. As with many Egyptian deities, she also played a role in the afterlife as a guide and helper to the dead, although this was not one of her primary duties. She was the daughter of the sun god Ra and is associated with the concept of the Eye of Ra. The popularity of Bastet grew from her role as protector of women and the household. As noted, she was popular among men as women, in that every man had a mother, sister, wife, or daughter, who benefited from the care Bastet provided. Further, women in Egypt were held in high regard and had almost equal rights, which almost guaranteed a goddess who protected women and presided over women's secrets, and especially high standing. Cats were also greatly prized in Egypt, as they kept homes free of vermin, protected the crops from unwanted animals, and provided their owners with fairly maintenance-free company. One of the most important aspects of Bastet's festival was the delivery of mummified cats to her temple. When the temple was excavated in 1887 and 1889 CE, over 300,000 mummified cats were found.
Sekhmet. Although Sekhmet and Bastet were originally regarded as the same, eventually Bastet was seen as the guardian of domesticated cats and Sekhmet was seen as the goddess of lioness. She is depicted as a lioness, the first hunter known to the Egyptians. Sekhmet's father was said to have been Ra himself. Sekhmet's twin sister, the cat-headed goddess Bast, represent the sun's creative and nurturing forces, and she was known by the title of Goddess of the Sunrise. The lion-headed Sekhmet was known as the Goddess of the Sunset, but she was better known in her more aggressive form, which was as an instrument of destruction and the bringer of storms, death, and war. Both Bastet and Sekhmet were named as Eye of Ra.
It was said that her breed created the desert and have provided the warm winds of desert. She was seen as the protector of the pharaohs and led them in warfare. Being the mother of a healing goddess, Sekhmet has her healing and protective aspects. While she may bring about disease and plague those who wrong her as the Lady of Pestilence, she is also a master of the art of medicine as she provides the cure to various ailments she may have brought to man. She was the patron goddess of all healers and physicians. In fact, her priests were known to be very skilled doctors. As a result, the gruesome Lady of Terror becomes the benevolent, the Lady of Life. She was mentioned numerous times in the various spells of the Book of the Dead as both a creative and a vicious force.
An example of importance of cat. Bastet was so popular that in 525 BCE, when Cambyses II of Persia invaded Egypt, he made use of the goddess to force the Egyptians surrender. Knowing of their great love for animals, and cats especially, he had his soldiers paint the image of Bastet on their shields and then arrange all the animals that could be found and drove them before the army toward the pivotal city of Pelusium. The Egyptians refused to fight for fear of harming the animals and offending Bastet and so surrendered. The historian Polyanus, 2nd century CE, writes how, after his victory, Cambyses II hurled cats from a bag into Egyptians' faces in scorn that they would surrender their city for animals. The Egyptians were underrated in their veneration of the cat and their worship of Bastet, however. Her status as one of the most popular, potent deities continued throughout the remainder of the Egyptian history and on into the era of the Roman Empire until, like the other gods, she was eclipsed by the rise of Christianity.